So welcome everybody. My name is Lisa Marshall. I'm the co-director of HeatSmart Tompkins. That's a new title for me. I've been in that role for just about a month. And I'm really happy to welcome all of you. Also on the call, we have our two HeatSmart Tompkins Clean Energy interns, Dana Grover and Nina Pignon. So say hello, ladies. You'll be seeing a lot of them this summer. They're going to be working on various projects to improve our program and make it even better. I also want to introduce Lindsay Spear, who's the program director at HeatSmart CNY. Lindsay, why don't you say hello?
Hello, everyone. I work with Alliance for a Green Economy, and we're partnered with Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board on the HeatSmart CNY campaign, but we are mostly just trying to live up to the high standards that HeatSmart Tompkins started when they were the original campaign in the state.
Thanks, Lindsay. That's very sweet of you to say. So welcome to our water heater webinar. If you have questions about other HeatSmart things such as heating and cooling, or home insulation, we definitely can address those at the end, but we wanted to talk about water heaters today. And so I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. So we are HeatSmart Tompkins, as I said, and our mission, we are a nonprofit, community-based organization committed to education and outreach. We do not make any money off of anything you may or may not buy as a result of our information sessions. And we like to emphasize the cost savings, the comfort and health, and the climate solutions that can be found in home insulation and air sealing and various kinds of heat pumps. Today we're going to be talking about how to heat your water with heat pumps. HeatSmart in the time of COVID. So we are a community organization, which means we love to go out in the community to churches and libraries and town halls and brew pubs and meet with the public on their own turf, but of course we can't do that right now. So thank you for joining this webinar. This is one of our ways to reach out. Please make use of our website. We record all these webinars and you can find them there. We have fact sheets. We have all kinds of interesting stuff. And we hope to have virtual home tours posted soon, so you can actually see these systems in place in people's homes. Normally we have real home tours where you come and visit and walk around the house, but we can't do that right now. And very importantly, all of our installers have protocols in place so that they can give you proposals for your house remotely. But now that phase 1 in Central New York and the Southern Tier are open, they can also come to your house if that is comfortable for you. And they put in place safe protocols for doing that. And if everybody could mute their device while we're having the presentation, that helps the audio for all. Okay, so HeatSmart across New York. We are this little purple area, Tompkins County. We are also Chemung County and some of the just border areas. But there are now all these wonderful other HeatSmart programs, and a lot of you are joining us tonight from HeatSmart Central New York. But HeatSmart, the idea of HeatSmart started right here in Tompkins County. It was a project of Solar Tompkins. Solar Tompkins ran a big Solarize campaign, and it was so successful that they decided they didn't really need to run Solarize anymore, and they thought about what other climate solutions could we help promote that would have an even bigger impact. And they came up with the idea for HeatSmart because it seemed like a lot of people really didn't know anything about heat pumps. Thus, HeatSmart Tompkins was formed. Initially, the money was raised from local foundations, but now these clean heating and cooling communities, or HeatSmart communities, are funded through our utility bills through NYSEG, the state agency. So we're very fortunate now to not have to raise money and scrape by. NYSEG funds our programs, and there are going to be more HeatSmart programs starting this year. I think we're going to go up to 20 programs to serve almost all of New York State. So that's very exciting. Okay, so the purpose of this, as I said, is to let us be your guide. We're just here to help you, to be a resource, to hold your hand if you need it, to answer questions if you need it. Studies show that the #1 reason people don't install heat pumps is they don't know about them. That includes HVAC installers, as well as the consumer public, homeowners, business owners, building owners. They just don't really know about heat pumps, so they don't put them in. And so we're here to fill that gap, because the more people know about them, the more heat pumps are installed, the more it becomes the normal everyday thing that everybody's going to do. And that's what we need to meet our climate and energy goals here in New York State, where heating is a really big piece of our energy pie. But so we try to make accessible information available to you, make sure that there's transparency for cost and quality issues. Not all heat pumps are the same. Some are much higher quality than others. And we're just a neutral source to answer your questions or troubleshoot anywhere along the process, whether you're first exploring what you want to put in your home, or whether you've already had something installed and you have questions or problems with it, and anything in between. That's what we're here for. So, but today we're here to talk about hot water. So as I said, space heating is a really big chunk of your energy use. These are old numbers, but they're about 10 years old, but they're still about right. 56% of New York household energy use is for heating, but 17% is for heating hot water. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And 17% is a pretty big chunk, and it adds up over time. You might know that the town of Lansing in Tompkins County is gas constrained, and there have been a lot of proposals for how to help reduce demand for gas in Lansing. And one way that we proposed was just to have 200 people put in heat pump water heaters, and that would have solved the gas constraint in Lansing. So heat pump water heaters can be powerful. And if you're not in a position to, or you don't want to change your home heating, you can still just change your water heating and have a pretty big impact. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is, if you are thinking about changing your home heating to ground source or geothermal heat pumps, I just want you to know that that can provide your home hot water. And there's sort of two flavors of how to do that. The one on the left is the water furnace, or there's other brands that are similar, a standalone hot water heat pump. And that takes water from the ground, from your ground loop for your geothermal heat system, and puts it into a separate heat pump that just heats your home hot water. And it provides all the hot water you need for your house. There's also another option where you have, on the right-hand side, this person has, this is a house in Newfield. The gentleman is standing, putting his hand on his heat pump unit that blows forced hot air into his house. But the disembodied arm in the front of the picture is resting on a hot water heater. So that it takes the excess hot water from a heat pump system to heat your house, and heats it in a tank, but it's already preheated. So the systems on the left are much more difficult to install. They take 2 guys 2 days to install, and they are much more expensive. But once you have that installed, your hot water basically is free for life. It's almost costing you nothing to run that system. The ones on the right are easier to install and cheaper, but they're not quite as efficient, so you're going to be spending a little bit more. They're still very efficient, though, so those are 2 good options if you are thinking about installing a ground source heat pump for your heat and air conditioning. That is definitely the way to go. However, for the rest of the talk, we're going to talk about air source heat pump water heaters, which are a standalone unit that anybody, well, maybe not anybody, but that almost anybody could use in their home. So what you're looking at, this little robot-looking guy on the screen, the bottom part of that is the sort of water tank, and the top part is the little heat pump. These units provide reliable hot water from your home. They're 2 to 3 times more efficient than the water heater that you probably have now. And they're very inexpensive to operate. So that will reduce your greenhouse gas emissions from your home. And and provide combustion-free hot water in your house. So where can they be installed? Remember I said not anybody can do one. You have to have a good spot for one of these guys. They're best situated in a semi-conditioned basement, which means that it's going to be between 40 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit in your basement. You don't want it to be too cold because they need to take the heat out of the air to work. They are taller because the heat pump on the top adds to the height. This is about the size of your regular water heater tank, and this is standing on top. So if you have a really short basement, that might not work for you. You also need clearance around it because the air needs to circulate around the heat pump. And it's gonna, when you're running this thing, it's gonna slightly cool and dehumidify the space around it. So you're gonna have to run your heating system a little bit, tiny bit more to make up for that temperature differential. Installing these is pretty straightforward. The heat pump unit is completely enclosed, and it comes all set up with the refrigeration. So the installation is just a plumbing and electrical job, just like almost any other water heater. So how do they work? Well, everybody on this call has a heat pump in their house that works very, very well. It's called your refrigerator. It takes, it runs a refrigerant loop, making the inside of your refrigerator cold, and the outside and the back, if you've ever felt the back of your refrigerator, it's quite hot because it's expelling the hot air. So heat pumps, whether they're a heat pump that heats your house or whether a heat pump that heats your water, operate on the same principle. Inside these loops is a refrigerant chemical. It's a chemical that you can compress and evaporate quite easily. And that phase change of the refrigerant chemical is what helps to absorb or expel heat as needed. So in your heat pump here, you've got the cold water coming in, goes through the refrigerant cycle, goes down into the tank of water, and this is hot refrigerant in these little tubes, right? And that's heating up your water in your tank. There's also a conventional heating coil to sort of cycle on and off to keep that water at the temperature that you need it. And then just like your other hot water tank, you're going to get hot water out. So that's basically how that guy works. So what is the efficiency of one of these standalone hot water heaters, and how does it compare to maybe other water heaters? This article came out last month in Clean Technica, and it's showing how much more efficient a heat pump water heater is, an air source heat pump water heater, than even a solar hot water heater or instant or on-demand hot water heater that are considered extremely efficient hot water heaters. I would guess that these data are not for New York. I think the number's a little lower here. When it's cold, it's gonna be quite a bit less efficient. On a day like today, these hot water heaters will run very efficiently because the air around them is quite warm already. But as you all know, we probably have a lot more cold days than hot days here in this part of the state. Okay, so how much does it cost to run this guy, and what's the payback? These numbers were calculated for us by NYSEG. They are fairly conservative numbers. So I think they're comparing a heat pump water heater, a 50-gallon heat pump water heater, to an oil system. And as you can see, running an oil boiler for your hot water would be, for this case, $556 a year, where the heat pump water heater would be under $200. You're going to add $5 for heating up that space. That's the energy that the heat pump is taking out of the air, making your basement colder, so your heating system has to work a little harder. And the estimated savings in 1 year is $363, which they calculate the payback period for the cost of this water heater to be 3 years and 5 months. So that's not too bad. And over the lifetime of the water heater, $3,500 in savings. I guess that's if the water heater lives about 10 years. I'm sure they can live longer than 10 years, but I guess we can't promise that. That's the assumption that they made when they did this estimate. So after 3 years and 5 months, if you were running an oil boiler, and you converted to one of these heat pumps, like some of our examples that our installers have given us on recent webinars, you'll see that this system would pay for itself quite quickly, and you'd be saving money after that. So when our installer partners apply to be part of the HeatSmart Tompkins program, we ask them to give us their model numbers of the equipment that they want to install and the prices. So this is showing 80-gallon and 50-gallon heat pump water heaters, the brands. The price that's not bolded is before the rebate from NYSEG, and the bold price is the price after the rebate from NYSEG. So you're looking at about $2,000 up to almost $3,000, depending on the size and the type of water heater. And then we have some different prices for annual maintenance contracts. So that's just a across the board comparison. And you can ask the installers the difference between the A.O. Smith Voltex and the state HPX 50 or HPX 80, because I actually don't really know the difference. But what I will tell you is that all the installers in our program are required to offer the highest level, the highest quality, most efficient heat pumps that are made on the market. So this is the high end. This is the very best that is made and the most efficient. Okay, so what if that's just out of your price range, even if it pays for itself? Well, we are very lucky to be partnering with the Finger Lakes Climate Fund, and they have gotten, HeatSmart has gotten a grant through NYSERDA that the Finger Lakes, that Sustainable Tompkins and the Finger Lakes Climate Fund are administering, that is helping lower and moderate income people to buy heat pumps and heat pump water heaters at greatly reduced prices. So let's take a look at that real quick. So who qualifies as low to moderate income? That depends on your household size and your income. So here's a chart. As you can see, like I have a friend who qualifies, even though they are a full-time tenured teacher at the high school, they have 3 kids. So they are under this 85,344, so they would qualify. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. How did that happen? Now I have to make that go away. Help. All right, I'm gonna have to exit this once again. I apologize, folks, that's very irritating. Hold on. I'm having the worst technology day ever. Okay.
So just to
share
note,
it again.
Low to moderate income levels, they change by county. So if you are in central New York, our list
there we go.
of what the low to moderate income thresholds are is on the HeatSmart CNY website. So these are the Tompkins numbers, and you can look at the HeatSmart CNY website for the other counties in central New York.
I think ours are a tiny bit higher than yours, Lindsay, I think is what I remember to be correct, but they're pretty similar.
Yeah, for one household in Onondaga County, it's 44,500.
Yeah. So here's the exciting slide for if you are lower moderate income qualified, or anybody you know who needs a new water heater or just wants one because they want something more efficient. You can take the full cost of that water heater and get from New York State an assisted home performance grant. You can get from HeatSmart a low to moderate income grant. And Lindsay told me that the Central New York grant is actually $350, not $300. So now I'm jealous. In addition, you may qualify for a Finger Lakes Climate Fund grant through the through that offset program that I'm going to explain in a minute. And the new NYSEG rebate is $700. Previously, there was a rebate for $500. So you can take the cost of that equipment all the way down to $200 or at least under $500. So you're looking at something that is much higher quality, cheaper to operate, and then cheaper than a conventional water heater by the time you're all at the end of the day, which is super, super exciting. But wait, there's more. This just in, because of the setbacks to the economy because of COVID, NYSERDA is offering through the Green Jobs Green New York program 0% financing, loans of up to $25,000 you can borrow for 5, 10, or 15-year periods. This can be for your house, a small company, a nonprofit, and this can be used for energy efficiency improvements, renewable energy systems, including heat pumps, including insulation, air sealing. And if you needed to borrow money to buy a water heater, they would qualify as well. So we're almost at the end of my presentation. The important thing that all the HeatSmart programs want you to know is that the way for you to start a relationship with us is to enroll on our website. It means fill out a short survey, tell us a little bit about your heating system, choose what installers you would like to work with from our installer partners, and they will send you, they will either remotely work with you or come to your home if that's comfortable for you. They have safety protocols for COVID set up. All of our partners, employees are trained to follow very strict safety protocols. And they will give you a proposal, whether it's for your heating system, whether it's for insulation, whether it's for solar in some cases, and whether it's for a hot water heater. And there's no obligation to you to be a part of this program and to get these assessments. This is a free service because we really strongly believe in promoting these programs for you. So I want to now introduce you to our installer partners. We have 4. 2 of our installer partners, Dailey Geothermal and NP Environmental, are heat pump specialists. They do heat pumps for heating and cooling. They do heat pump water heaters, but they do not do insulation and air sealing. Our other 2 installer partners are Halco and Snug, and they do insulation, air sealing, heat pumps, and more. So they're different kinds of companies. They are all excellent, and I'll let them speak for themselves. Let me see what my next slide is. Oh, just thank you for listening. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. That's a relief. And I'm going to ask our installer partners to just quickly say hello to you and introduce themselves. Starting today with Halco. Hal, is it going to be you or Matt speaking? I'm guessing Matt is going to say hello for Halco, right? Matt?
I usually get volunteered, yes.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, take
Can
it
you hear
away.
me now?
I can hear you.
Okay,
yes.
So we're good. You can hear me, yes? Okay.
We can hear you, Matt.
Okay, all right, good deal. Hi, everybody. My name's Matt Dennis. Okay. My name's Matt Dennis with Halco Energy. Tell you just a quick little bit about Halco. We are a whole performance home contractor, so everything that the HeatSmart program is promoting is everything that we do, from all sorts of heat pump options, air sealing, insulation, and then a litany of other services. We've been in business for 36 years. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with 120 people on staff. So anytime you need anything, it's a simple phone call. So half of that's our service department. So if you call us at 2 a.m. on Sunday, we answer the phone every time. Just really what we're going for is to be able to offer you a whole line of services. So any issues you might have in your home, we can take care of. and sort of just be that one-stop shop for you. So we aim to have customers for life, and we've got many customers that have been with us a very long time. But yeah, so we're here for you. We're happy to help. Happy to answer any questions you got. Thanks for being here, and tell your friends. Try to stay cool.
Great. Thanks, Matt, so much. And yes, we're trying. And next I'll call on Elizabeth Herod of Snug Planet.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Herod, and my husband John started.
Are you here, Elizabeth? There you are.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Yeah. Okay. My husband and I moved to Tompkins County in 2006 in order to start Snug Planet, and we started it out of our house. This was the office, which has changed a lot, but used to be the office for the company in our house in downtown Ithaca. And gotta remember, I had little kids at the time, so I'm inviting my team into my house. They had keys to our house, and they're gonna be around my kids and my things, and then I could send them out to other people's houses. And so that's how much I trusted them and how carefully I hired them. And I still hire to that standard, even though we have a nice shop up on 79. So we're no longer in the house. We've grown. We're about maybe 20 people now. But I still hire to that level. I care a lot about the people who live in the homes that we work in and their houses and their belongings and their children. So I would just say that we started the company to be a very mission-driven company. And our mission is to save energies, reduce energy use in homes in ways that make sense for people and the planet. And that mission really guides all of our decision making. We're focused on quality and attention to detail, customer care. Those of you who know Ithaca know it's a very small town. So if I don't make every customer very happy, I'll hear about it very quickly. Even in these distance times, people find ways. So, customer satisfaction and customer care and following up with customers and servicing the systems that we install, making sure that everything's running quickly is very important to us. So we take a lot of time and care to properly size heating systems and make the best recommendation that we can for everyone. If we recommend it, it makes sense. It makes sense for people. It makes sense for the planet. It makes sense for your wallet. It makes sense for your comfort. It makes sense for your durability. And if it didn't, we wouldn't be recommending it. So I'll stop there and just say that heat pump water heaters are sometimes the last thing that you want to change out to get off fossil fuel. So at my house, for example, everything runs on electricity. It's all solar. And the last little step we're going to do very soon, as soon as the 0% financing comes on, is to get a heat pump water heater in our basement. So then we can rip out the gas meter and not pay that surcharge every month and just really make that symbolic and real commitment to being fossil fuel free and net zero house. So that's really important to us. And appreciate being a part of HeatSmart. This is our third time around, I think. And glad you're here. Go enroll as soon as this meeting is over. It's easy and fun. And you'll say, yay, I'm a part of making the planet a better place. Even just by enrolling, it helps. And tell your friends, like Matt said. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks so much, Elizabeth. I am calling next on our newest installer partner, who is Ryan Dailey of Dailey Geothermal, or Dailey Electric. Company has two names. They're both good.
Yeah, right. Makes no sense. Hi, my name's Ryan. Hi, everybody. My dad started our business back in the early 1990s. I took it over from him in 2007. We're located up in Penn Yan. We mostly do geothermal installations, air source heat pump, and a residential electric. We have 20 employees, and my father still works for the business. My wife runs our office. Pretty much mostly everybody in our family still works for the business. And we became partners down in Binghamton with their HeatSmart program a couple years ago when they started that. And we're fortunate enough to get involved with the Tompkins County this year. So it's been very good so far, and hopefully continues on.
Thanks, Ryan. And so last but not least, Kevin from NP Environmental. Go ahead and say hi.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin. I'm with NP Environmental. I'm a field engineer for them. NP is a design, build, sustainable technology company. We've been around since 2004. We've been with HeatSmart since the beginning. and we specialize in anything heat pumps, ground source, air source hot water heaters. We install the A.O. Smiths, like you saw in Lisa's slide. We also can provide ventilation and indoor air quality systems. And really, we seek any building with a demand of, any temperature between 35 and 135 degrees, the capacity for a heat pump. And we really specialize in finding ways to apply that heat pump technology to your needs and special tailoring that technology to meet those demands. And we always look forward to doing it. We're driven by the technology, that 200, 300, 400% efficiency. That's what fires us up. And that's why, we're big advocates and want to put it in, any house, any building we can. So thank you all for coming out tonight. And I look forward to answering any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin. So that turns the meeting over to all of you, our guests. It's time for your questions. You can either unmute your audio and ask a question to me, to anybody on our team. Or you can write a question in the chat and we will respond out loud. So take it away. If, Lindsay, are there questions in the chat already that we should be addressing? I haven't been able to monitor the chat.
Chat. Yeah.
Addressed as they
Is there a
are, for the
severe?
most part.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I couldn't
Go
quite
ahead.
hear you. Could you please repeat?
Table your question.
Is there a severe low temperature?
Who is
where these
speaking?
don't work?
I think it's
This
on the.
is
You're
Jen.
talking about the air source water
Yeah.
heater?
You gotta type it in.
No, you don't have to
Yes.
type it in.
Yes.
We can hear you.
So, yeah. So the question is, can it get too low temperature for these water heaters to work? Matt, do you want to take that?
Yeah, they're really rated. I mean, the low end of it's really about 40, 45 degrees. If you have a basement colder than that, that's a whole other conversation to have. But yeah, I mean, they can struggle at really, really low temperatures. They're not really designed for those low kind of temperatures. Like, you're not going to put it outside. But if you have a basement below freezing, that's a whole different scenario.
That's different. Yeah.
If it's, and again, most basements, you're not going to get that temperature, that low a temperature. But yeah, I mean, if it's freezing, then yeah, you got a problem.
Freezing.
No,
Yeah, it's below.
in
Yeah,
your
if it's-
basement, in your
Yeah.
basement.
If you have ice forming in your basement, it's
Yeah.
terrible if you're going to store your wine down there. It's not good at all. And B, it's not going to be good for your heat pump operation. And also your house is just going to be terribly cold.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
yeah. But like all heat pumps, the less differential between the temperature you're trying to get to and the temperature of the air or water that you're dealing with, the more efficient they are. So,
Hey,
that just
Lisa,
makes sense, right? Yeah.
Lisa, if you don't mind, I wanted to jump in. So a couple of things with a heat pump water heater is so there's two things to kind of look at. It's when we have folks that are looking to sort of dip their toe into the heat pump world, it is sort of like the easiest one to kind of start with. It's also the least expensive option when you're looking at heat pumps as opposed to changing out your whole heating system. If you have an old fossil fuel furnace, boiler, anything that's a central heating system, you're generating a fair amount of waste heat. So if you put a heat pump water heater in that utility room that you might find in the winter time is like 80 degrees, you'll find that heat pump water heater runs phenomenally efficient because it's capturing a lot of that waste heat. But again, if it's sort of like one of those things you just want to kind of start with it, it's the heat pump water heater is a great way to sort of start with it, if you will.
Great, thanks.
There also, I wanted to mention the noise. Did you talk about the noise?
I did not talk about the noise. Can we just hold that and come back to it? Is that okay?
Sure.
So I'm going to direct this question to Ryan. It's about, Reggie said they have a Munchkin boiler, which heats the hot water heating system and the hot water. They hardly use the hot water heat. Does it make sense to discard the current hot water tank and install a heat pump water heater? And it's a natural, is it natural gas? You're heating your Munchkin?
Yes.
Beth Astor, yeah. That's it. That's a tough question. So if I guess it depends how much you're heating the house, because if you have, it's a sidearm tank, I would assume. So the boiler's firing anyways to heat your house.
We
So
heat
heat
our
the hot
house with
water's
heat
not a big
pumps.
deal. Pulling that off, you do.
Yes.
Then probably more efficient getting rid of the boiler. And if that's just running every time you heat the hot water, then the only conversation would be, I guess, how much hot water gets used.
2 people.
Yeah. You're probably running a lot of extra gas to fire that boiler up every time you heat the hot water. It'd definitely be a good question to look at the system, honestly. Just to really, yes, probably.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Can I weigh in on that one, Lisa?
Sure, I just want to make sure that Kevin has a chance, but go ahead, Elizabeth.
Just to say that maybe the place to start is having a visit, and even if you've had a visit in the past, you can have another one, and it can be a virtual visit. A lot of what I talk to homeowners about is having a plan in place. You know, how old is the Munchkin? And how is your desire to get off natural gas? So it's kind of a complicated question where math is part of it, for sure. And then there are other factors and considerations. And one big consideration is there are a lot of incentives right now and a 0% finance. So even if you might have put off the decision for a year or two, gotten another year out of your Munchkin, it might, the desire to get off fossil fuel and save energy and have these great incentives might drive you to make the decision now instead of 2 years from now. But definitely having a plan in place that you feel good about, where all the math has been done and you're ready to push go whenever you're ready, because eventually your Munchkin is going to die, if you take it all the way to the end of its life. So right now you have a choice, but someday you won't. So getting ready is a good idea, in my opinion.
Good. Thank you.
Great. Yes, as Elizabeth said, the 0% financing is a limited time offer. It's supposed to be available for a year or until the money runs out. And I'll let you guys guess which we think is going to happen first. It's $20 million, not that much money. So other questions for folks? Billy, go ahead. And Kevin, why don't you take Billy's question?
We're avid DIYers. Could we install one of these heat pumps ourselves? Or does it need a professional to install it?
Maybe that's an unfair question to ask the contractors.
Yeah, I'm actually
Kevin?
not sure of that either. So I know they're on the shelf at Home Depot, but as far as, it's a self-contained refrigeration unit. I don't know the answer to this question, actually.
I'll take a stab at it. If you just buy one, you'd have to do quite a bit of research to figure out if you're getting the really high efficiency kind that our installer partners have already vetted and proposed. And you'd have to be able to do a good job with the plumbing and the electrical. So, if for people who are comfortable with that, they could install them themselves. I also am very unclear, and I meant to figure this out before this meeting and I forgot, how it would work for the utility incentives, the $700 off for doing it yourself. You'd have to figure that out, which might be difficult. So there are definitely possibilities, and some folks out there are going to want to look at those. And the other point is service. So all of our installers, one of the things we require and that they all offer is to service everything that they install in your home. And whether you have a contract with them or not, if they install something in your house, they're gonna be there 3 years from now if you have a problem with it, to come and fix it. So there are some definite considerations you would want to do. It's definitely it's not as hard as installing a heating or cooling system, because you don't have, the refrigerant unit is completely contained and all set. So all you have to do is plumbing and electrical. However, there are other considerations. Great question though. Thanks, Billy. Did you have any other questions, Billy? No. We're just
yes.
coming to the end of our 45 minutes. And, oh, you have a question, iPad 2. Go ahead.
That's
Yes.
you, Jim.
Okay. The question I have is, we have a house-based hot water system that's our heating system. Is there any way we can piggyback that onto this kind of technology? We have
I'm
a
going to
water
give that
system,
one to
water-based
Kevin.
water system
You got an unfair
With a
question.
gas boiler.
with a gas boiler.
Okay, Kevin, you want to take that one?
Sure. So I guess I'd actually have to ask a counter question. And how are you heating your hot water now?
With a gas hot water
Gas.
heater.
Gas hot water heater.
Okay. So
And would it save us money?
it could make sense in the fact that during the summer months, when you're not using that hot water heater to heat the house, then you would have a more efficient method of heating your hot water without running the full gas boiler. But in the winter, I mean, it's going to be running anyway, so it would meet both demands for your home heat as well as your domestic hot water.
Okay, so it would not be an advantage in the winter.
Yeah, that's no, not as much. It would that'd be definitely something to look at though, as far as a financial, cost breakdown, because you'd basically be split in half, where maybe you're using it more half the year, but not as much the other half the year.
Okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that question. Linda, go ahead.
Could you describe the virtual visit? My husband and I are really very concerned about COVID-19, so we'd rather not have anyone in our house right now.
That's an excellent question. Elizabeth, I see you. Okay, go ahead.
So we've been working during the whole time off. I'm sure all the contractors have, I know they have, on how to do a virtual visit, because of course we've always said, oh, we'll come to your house. That's really important. And we still will. I want to make sure people know. But for people who request that we don't come, we have some new tools where a homeowner can get really engaged in the process, and it can be kind of fun. Instead of us being the experts that we are, you join us, and we're kind of a team to try to make a plan for your home. So we have a very simple tool. I did it on my own house. I took 5 pictures and I was able to get this 3-dimensional representation of my house with really accurate window measurements and that kind of thing. And then I went down to my basement and I took pictures of my heating system. So, we're working with clients every day, customers every day, to gather as much information as we can. And then if we have to go into the house, for example, I sent someone to a home, the problem was in their basement. They just entered the basement from the exterior, did what they needed to do, talked from the sidewalk to the porch, and left. And it was, so we're being creative, and I know all the contractors are, and safety is our number one, all of our HeatSmart installers' priority right now.
Yeah, because they want to protect you and their employees as well. And I will tell you, Linda, that the whole state is working on this. Our installers were on, and Jonathan, my co-director, we're on a 2-hour webinar with NYSERDA talking about all the different tools and methods there are for giving very good virtual assessments without coming in your home. So that, they're just doing an amazing job. It's really impressive what they've come up with. So actually all of our installers showed us what their plans were a couple of weeks ago, as we knew we were going to open up for phase one. And it's just looking it's really amazing actually what they've been able to do. And I think everybody said that, you know, after this is all over, they will still, of course, want to come to homes, but these tools that they're developing now, they'll still use, you know, that saves carbon of the drive out if you're far away. It saves time. And so it can be just a really great tool to have in the tool basket. So I think going forward, we're going to see a combination of in-home visits and remote appraisals as these tools get better and better. So the cursed internet, it has its uses after all. And I see that Billy's question about a short water heater was already answered. I want to just, we will stay on if people have more questions, but I want to honor the time. We said we'd go 45 minutes. We've gone a bit over. I want to thank everybody so much for coming out tonight. I will send a follow-up email with a short survey with contact information for the different HeatSmart programs. And we'd love it if you'd fill that out, because your feedback is super important to us. That helps us to serve you better. So thank you. You're welcome to sign off now, but you're also welcome to stay on and chat with us. And we'll stay on until 8 o'clock. And then I have a date with some tacos and a beer. So I will be signing off this meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any final thoughts? Pasta and cider, that sounds good. Although it's
Hey, I got a question about the green energy program, green jobs energy.
The Green Jobs Green New York financing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need bigger acronyms, I think.
That's what we're always saying. More acronyms, bigger, longer.
Wow. So we just do solar. Like, I don't think I can get into that program unless I do energy efficiency stuff. Is that how that works? Yeah, that's how it works, huh?
No, you can use that for solar. You just need to solar specific. You just need to get with NYSERDA and fill out all their mountain of paperwork for certifications and stuff. But you should be able to use it for solar. You just need to be authorized by NYSERDA.
Yep, what Matt said is correct. It's any renewable energy or energy efficiency upgrade.
Okay, I was trying to fill out the app tonight, and they just wanted all kinds of stuff that we don't have, you know?
Yeah, that's the mountain of paperwork. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, we have to do one of those for everything we do.
That's encouraging. What a great way to end the call.
Yeah, it's I love New York State efficiency.
Hey, you know, paperwork is onerous, but there's no state that has more programs to help people put in these systems than New York. So we growl about the paperwork. We constantly press NYSERDA to do better, to make it simpler, to make it faster, to make it easier. But at the end of the day, we're still pretty lucky to have the programs that we have.
Oh, I agree. I want it to be better. I'm with you. I've talked to Brindisi. He came to town, and I asked him about some of the stuff, and I don't think the tariffs are fair. But you know, we can streamline this stuff.
Yeah. So Dom has a solar company, is that right?
Dragon Solar.
And you know, for guests who are still on the call, we did talk about doing geothermal with hot water. And if you put in geothermal with hot water and you have solar panels that cover all the running of that system, you can get so that your monthly energy bills are literally just the less than $20 a month it costs you to get electricity delivered to your house. For the rest of your life, that's your total energy bill. We have people in our region who we've done home tours, and that's all they pay year round, no matter how much they heat or cool their house or how much hot water they're using, that's all they're paying. Matt, you don't have to raise your hand.
No,
Jump
I'm
in.
just saying I'm one of those people.
Oh, you're one of those people.
One of those people. My solar offsets my entire electrical consumption. So
Show them your
I have air source heat pumps, not ground source heat pumps, but I do have a net zero home.
So let me ask you this, Matt Dennis, when your girlfriend got her Nissan Leaf, did you have to put in more?
Yeah, that skewed that skewed us a little bit. That threw me out of net zero, but it more than pays for itself in the gas savings. So, but yes, the electric car did sink me on that. So I forgot about that.
And no oil changes.
No oil changes. No nothing really.
No nothing. It's amazing.
So one of our customers, who's now one of our partners, he has a very large solar system that we put in. He converted to a heat pump. I don't know exactly what. He lives in Rochester, but he has a Chevy Bolt, which is an EV, and he's been sending more energy back to whoever they are up there. I think it's a NYSEG company up there, Rochester area. So it's been wonderful for him, you know. Hey, the stuff works, everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It definitely works.
It's pretty amazing. Anybody else with any lingering questions? I see some callers, Matt and Jan, Andra. Oh. Elizabeth, I don't think you put a number in there. I think whatever you're trying to say would be more impressive. Aha, 580. Okay, that's fantastic. My first car was the Honda Civic HF 2-seater, and that was in the 90s, and I got 60 miles to the gallon. But it only fit 2 people. Okay. Well, thanks again for coming. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Jonathan or Lindsay if you're in Central New York. Enroll with HeatSmart. Find out all about what the optimal systems for your home are. Our installer partners are creative and engaged, enthusiastic, and passionate about the work that they do. They all come at this work from the right place. They have amazing ideas. So talk to one of them, talk to 2 of them, talk to all of them. They will be happy to share their vision for the most comfortable, climate-friendly, and cost-effective home that you can possibly have. And then we're all spending a lot more time at home, so it's never been more important. So thanks again so much for coming, and keep an eye out for future webinars, both in Central New York and HeatSmart Tompkins. We'll see you on the airways.